All right. Well, welcome to a Deal Structure Sunday. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe because you don't want to miss these. On Tuesdays we do. On Thursdays we do Thursday Q&A. On Monday we do Motivational Monday, and of course these Sunday deal structures is like 150 of them on there. If you did nothing but hang out and go through these deal structures, you get a real sense for how, what, where, when, and why. And we don't give you just the fluff; we give you the challenges as well. Morris, welcome to another deal structure. I think this is your second, my friend.
Yes, it is.
Sweet. Morris, just tell these guys real briefly because I often forget. Tell them where you are and kind of what your life was like. Just 2-minute overview, and then we'll jump into this deal.
Sure. Yeah, I live in Brooklyn, New York. I've been doing real estate full-time for about 2.5 years. Joined this community little less than a year ago. And it's night and day from what I was used to before. So this is, I'm just loving this. I was doing wholesaling before, doing this now, being able to get 3 paydays on every deal, sometimes even more. It's been a game changer. So I'm loving it.
Well, let me mention something too for the viewers, new or veteran viewers, with what Morris just said. The difference in our community, and it's not an ego statement. The fact is we help people do what we call bridge the gap, meaning Morris, others, tens of thousands of other people, maybe you, the viewer right now, have taken courses and then not done deals, which baffles my brain. There's no reason for that. And so we've put in place free weekly sit downs, free support calls, strategy calls, all to help you bridge the gap, meaning do a deal quicker than most people can get out of the gates after a seminar or a course. So with that as a backdrop, Morris, let's go to deal type first. What type of deal is this?
So this is a FSBO for sale by owner.
How'd you find it?
Actually, my VA called. Got the lead and then passed the lead on to me. And then I took over from there.
Okay, great. So virtual assistant, for those of you watching, again, I'm going to try to explain language as I go here for the newer people. So for sale by owner and virtual assistant, we do suggest that people start with a virtual assistant. It's minuscule dollars. I'll help you with that in a strategy call. And by the way, if you ever want a strategy call, because I've now said it twice already, just go to smartrealestatecoach.com/action and you'll chat with myself or Pete or Zach. So VA got the lead, gave it to you. Do you remember how long, when I said deal type, sorry, I meant, there we go. Do you remember how long this took from when the VA gave it to you, Morris? Do you recall?
Yeah, I actually do. I looked at it before we got on. The VA gave it to me February 16th. And we actually closed this deal in June.
Closed, as in they're going to learn in a second. We bought the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So the deal type is a sub 2.
Yep. Correct.
Now I remember actually, this is all coming back to me. I do remember some stuff. So after you called, you had me call this guy at least once or twice. I've talked to this guy, right?
Yes. A few times. Yes.
So this is, again, super important. I just talked about bridging the gap for everyone watching. We partner these deals in a sense because he can say, my senior associate's going to call you. Why? Morris is a high 6 associate. So when he's going through these first few deals, I'm on it with him. This is a tag team. Okay. So there is no term, right, Morris? Because we did a sub 2. We own it.
Correct. Yep.
So that's NA. That's why for you people in Texas, you go, I can't do lease purchase. Good. Go do a bunch of sub 2s and owner financing. That's what we prefer anyway. Okay. This deal was a little different in that instead of just saying a lot of the sub 2s by nature are, hey, I need debt relief, like help me out. And they don't have equity. This gentleman had equity. So how much debt was on the property?
He had actually two loans.
Yeah.
He had one was 247,000.
Okay.
The other was 67,000.
Plus 67K. And I'm just going to go like, well, okay. So that's about 314.
Correct.
What do we buy this thing for when we close? Like we literally closed on it. What was it?
389.
389. And the difference we made up in cash, didn't we?
Yep.
About 70 grand,
Yep.
74,
We've got 75 grand.
75K cash. Now, for the viewers, please don't have a heart attack on this. We teach no money down, right? We do have an arm, another company within the Wicked Smart umbrella called Wicked Smart Finance. It's set up just for associates. If they're going to look at a deal that perhaps they would have passed on, it's not instead of, it's, hey, I would have passed on this. They call us if they're associates. High six get preferential treatment, and the coaches. And so that's, as such, we did this deal with Morris. Wicked Smart Finance put up the deal, and we partner 50-50 on the profits. He gets to learn along the way instead of passing on a deal, and we fund it. So it's a win-win. We sold it for how much? Because we already sold this thing. It was a few weeks.
Yep. 447.
447. Okay, great. Deposit from buyer at the closing table, which you're literally collecting as we speak, and
Yep.
then over time. So what's the total, and what'd you get up front?
Okay, so the total is 34,000.
34K. And you got at the closing table, you and Nick did the buyer's meeting?
Yep. At the closing table, 15,000.
And in addition to the 15, well, there's no sort of first month because we're already paying the mortgage. So you got 15 up front.
Yep.
Okay. Sweet. So 34 total. That's payday number one. You guys are gonna have to deal with my chicken scratch. Sorry for that. Monthly payment, outgoing to the mortgage that we are paying on.
$2,023.
Is that PITI? Remind me.
It is, yes.
Principal, interest, taxes, insurance, if you're new to the channel into these deals. Payment from our buyer every month total.
$24.91.
Awesome. So monthly cash flow, monthly cash flow first. Whatever that comes to, I don't know. Three something, four something.
I thought I did it. 468.
468. Now, here's what I want to point out, because I think we did this. So we own this long term. We have no end date ticking. However, we want control over the buyer, A, and B, we want to make sure that however they get pre-qualified, because remember, we set buyers up to win, that we're going to set the lease, their rent to own up to kind of coincide with that. So what do we give them for a term?
2 years, 24 months.
Okay. So very important for you, for the viewers. We're going to calculate these profits right here on 24 months, but I almost guarantee you that what Morris and I and Nick are going to do is we're not going to pressure these people. If they're on time, we may come to them in the next year or so and offer some owner financing. So we have this deal for 20 years. So they never have to go to a bank, or they may call us and want to cash out. Either one is okay, but we're going to give you the 24 months. Likely it'll go longer. What's the cash flow for payday 2 with 24 months only?
11,232.
11,232 is payday number 2. Again, if we stop there, there will be a deal after a deal here, and there will be some wealth stacking here, but this is just bare bones. All right. What's the markup we did there without me trying to calculate it?
We marked it up 58,000.
Yeah, 58K. Okay. The principal payment every month, Morris, on this 2023, how much are we getting?
The principal pay down is about $400.
Let's go with, round numbers fine. So times 24 is what?
8,000.
How much?
I'm sorry. No, 9,600. I'm sorry.
9,600. That's principal pay down only, guys, if you're watching this. Plus we got minus, just picture this going to the closing table, right? And it's 24 months later. They didn't want us to owner finance them and stay in the deal long term with them. They just said, hey, good news, we're cashing you out. And they might have called in month 19 or whatever. At that time on the settlement statement, we're going to give them credit for the 34, just like any other conventional deal. You give them credit for their deposit. Even though it's non-refundable when they came in, of course, they get credit for it. Very important that you keep the seasoning of, the resource of that, the source of that. They have to prove the source when they go for underwriting, like any other loan, and we have to show proof that it came in. Okay, so the cash out for payday 3 is how much?
33,600.
Okay, so we got 34, 96, and 33. What's that come to total?
34, not 96. You know,
I'm sorry. Yeah. My bad.
plus the 34,
78-ish.
$78,832.
All right. Now it's so crazy. I scream from the rooftops about this. Morris is in a market very similar to ours in Jersey, and we're in New England. And our average 3 paydays run 75 to 82 grand on average. And he's right there in the middle at 78. It's not coincidental, guys. This is predictable, and it's going to be every time, depending on price range and how good you get at extracting paydays from buyers. And I'll tell you that I'll have Morris comment on this, but I'll tell you that Nick's an expert at it. I brought Nick in the business in 2014, and he does it way better than me now. And frankly, knows the system better now. He's taken it all over and owned it. Morris, maybe comment on that piece of this, because I know for a fact, and you may even were in this camp, people go, yeah, okay, I get how to get the deals, but I'm nervous about getting a buyer. So talk a little bit about your interaction with Nick and maybe any ahas you got out of that and how much he was involved.
Yeah, so Nick has been involved all along. It's funny because when I first got the deal, like I said, we're buying it for $389. I'm figuring, okay, we'll put it for $420. And I speak to Nick, and he said, no. I said, I was thinking maybe $420, $419. He says, no, we're going $447. I was like taken aback, and I said, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have such a hard time selling this. I'm so nervous. Until Nick admits that he was wrong, we're gonna lose time. And within a week, we had a buyer. They never questioned the selling price. And Nick told me, he said the same buyer who can buy it for $419 can pay $447. So that was an eye opener for me. Also, the strategy on the monthly. We originally we put it out for $2,500 a month. We lowered it to $2,000. The way we got to the $2,491 is we put the taxes in there, so that gets us the $2,491 and gives us a nice spread.
Let me explain that, Morris, for them, because that's a great strategy. So what we've done over the years, again, this is tweaking payday 1, 2, and 3 and how we market them as we learn, because we're in the trenches, and as we learn little tweaks and how to extract more money, we share it with the associates. This technique's been in our playbook for about 4 years. All we do is, they weren't getting the activity at like 24 or 25, right? Morris advertised.
Right.
So what we do in our rent-own videos, and if you're an associate or you buy our website, because we have done a few websites, the videos are pre-done to teach the rent-own buyer that they're a buyer. As such, we're educating them that they're not paying the taxes, but we want to show them how taxes get added. Just like when they go to a bank, the bank's going to sit with them and say, okay, here's your base P&I, here's your taxes, insurance, etc. So we get them used to being a buyer. So if it's not getting the activity, they lowered it to the 2,000 mark-ish. And then they just took the proration of monthly taxes when they came in for the buyer meeting and added it back on. That's it. And they're educated in the videos. I've had people come in with a tax bill as high as $1,000 who came in. I had one recently from Connecticut, high tax area, who came in, Morris, and he said his name was George. I got to the checklist in the buyer meeting that's talked about taxes. And he said, oh, yeah, I watched the videos. I actually looked up how much the taxes were, so I know how much you're going to add there. Totally understood it, because our system educates them along the way. You're not surprising them. So I want to make sure I added that. Anything else on that side? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, and I do want to, highlight that we had a buyer's meeting. Nick actually ran the meeting remotely because this was my first buyer's meeting. So he totally handled it. He spoke to the buyer a couple of times. And then Chris, throughout this deal, like he said before, he spoke to the seller a few times. I was on vacation. Chris took the bull by the horns, got the deal, pretty much got it done while I was away, found an attorney for me. So, with the team, like I said at the beginning, I was doing real estate before I joined the community. There's nothing like this group and this team anywhere. I mean, it's just they hold your hand throughout the whole process. This is my first, second deal, and they've been really handling it all the way through. And it's such a learning experience for me. Now going on to the next, I feel like I have so much more in my tool shed.
Well, what happens, Morris, I think you and I were going over like 2 or 3 deals yesterday. And I remember saying to you, this is great because the more we do deals in between, we have group calls for those that don't know, but when you're doing deals, it's as needed. It's effort for effort. It's one of our values. So Morris and I were going over 2 or 3 deals yesterday, and we'll probably go over in the next few days every day. But there'll be a point in about a year where Morris is nailing a bunch of that stuff, but then coming in and going, I got a complicated one, and we go over it again. That's just the progression of an associate. And that's why we do at least 10 deals with them, because they didn't master it then. There's a lot to learn after that, but the basics are in place there where you can kind of hold your own and get to the plate and actually round a few bases. Any other, well, let me ask you this, Morris, what would you say? You're in real estate. There's a lot of people in real estate that aren't crushing it. In my opinion, in hindsight, it's awful. I'll even say it's sad because there's no reason. When you have a system that works, you follow it for 3 years, blind faith. You don't go, oh, I got a little sting here, or a little speed bump here. You follow it for 3 years and you have an awesome outcome when you do that. So any like nuggets or thoughts for them to help them understand why they should, for example, either do the course or come to QLS Live that's coming up in September,
Yeah, I definitely want to speak on that. When I got involved with the community, obviously I was nervous and not sure if this was real. So it took me a little time. I started making calls. I started getting on the phone and speaking to sellers. And I don't know, there was a certain moment. I mean, first of all, the QLS and the team give you a complete blueprint of exactly how to do this. How many, depending on your goals, how many calls you need to make, who you need to speak to, appointments, and all of that. And there was a point where I think as I was making calls and I was speaking to sellers, I started to realize that sellers are really interested in doing deals like this. You think that maybe, you're not going to find anybody who's willing to sell their home without getting all the money up front. But once I started speaking to people, I was like, wow, this is real. And then just following exactly what Chris and his team tell you to do, if you just follow the steps, you actually can do it. So there was a point like where I went from being nervous and concerned that this is not real to all of a sudden, like the light bulb went on and I said, wow, this is real. And as long as I follow what they say, I'm going to do deals.
Yeah. And it's magical. Once you do your first deal, I'll promise everybody listening to this and watching this, once you do your first deal, your very next phone call is different, right, Morris? It's just different. 100%. You come from an area of confidence, of posturing, and you might even say in your script, I would suggest you do, yeah, well, we just bought one like this down the street on XYZ street. And then the seller's mind shifts immediately. They hear it in you. So it's magical. I'll drop a nugget here. I don't think I've done this on on the Deal Structure Sunday in a long time because we haven't been live for QLS, the event. I'll make sure this comes out before the event for this reason. If you're viewing this now and you've never been to an event, the last live event in the ballroom was 19, QLS Live 19 because of COVID. Now, as much as I love not getting on a plane, as much as I love not having to traipse my whole team down the street to a hotel in this case, it's much better. We get to interact with you, the student. And so if you're viewing this, I don't have a link for you. What I will tell you is this, because you stayed to the end, go ahead and email me personally. Yes, I get the email, chris@smartrealestatecoach.com. And in the subject line, put QLS Live 2022. And in the body, tell me why you should have a 90% off ticket. I'll give you a link. I want you to explain how passionate you are and/or why you're committed and serious and why you want to be at the event. And I want you there. So it's for those of you watching this at the very end. Morris, congrats, buddy. I know we got 2 or 3 more in the hopper, so we'll get those on the book soon and we'll be back on here for them to see you. So don't let them down, by the way. No pressure.
Okay. No pressure.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.